President Trump not holding back as he reacted to the FBI raid on John Bolton. Federal agents searching the Maryland home and D.C. office of his former national security advisor, and a source told Fox News the search is focused on potential classified documents believed to still be in Bolton's possession. Here's the president.
I'm not a fan of John Bolton. I thought he was a sleazebag, actually. And he suffers major Trump derangement syndrome, but so do a lot of people, and they're not being affected by anything we do. I don't know anything about it. I just saw that. I'll find out about it. But if you believe the news, which I do, I guess his house was raided today. But my house was raided also, called Mar-a-Lago. They went through everything they could, including my young son's room and my wife's area. So, so I know the feeling. It's not a good feeling.
Democrats in the media who acted like cheerleaders for the raid on Trump's Mar-a-Lago, well, they were quick to form a narrative that there were more nefarious reasons behind this raid.
Bolton has been publicly criticizing President Trump. The timing of this search of Bolton's home is particularly chilling.
The FBI director, goes online and tweets about this. The vice president of the United States jumps on that. Suggests that this is a politically motivated gesture.
The president's history of going after people using the levers of power that he has access to.
So many investigations that seem to be for retribution purposes.
Consumed with revenge and retaliation against his critics.
It's also an attempt to distract from the other big news of the day, which is the first production of the Epstein files.
So, Shannon, we don't have the contents of the search warrant, so it's hard to understand exactly what they were looking for. But there's been allegations that John Bolton used classified information in his book previously, and that's allegedly what they maybe were looking for today.
Yeah, and listen, everyone in this country gets due process, and we assume a presumption of innocence. And so we don't know what they have, what was in that warrant, what will eventually come from this. But with all of that in mind, you think about the fact that after the Mar-a-Lago raid, what John Bolton said at the time was, let's not assume any political motivation. There isn't any evidence to that. So will the left give that same presumption this time around? I don't know. We'll have to see. But there's so many other steps in this that will have to come. And I don't think the heads of DOJ and the FBI are going to want to bring a case they can't prosecute to a win. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. So this is step one. The FBI will go through this evidence. We'll see what they actually picked up. And if they think it needs to go to a grand jury or prosecution beyond that, they're not going to go to the wall, I think, on this if there's not evidence there for some crime. The president issued that weaponization order executive order on day one, saying it's time for that to end. But having set that standard now, they're going to be very careful, I think, with how they handle this.
Yeah, Jesse, so many people would argue this is not a response or weaponization. This is simply accountability for him allegedly, potentially breaking the law. Now, he hasn't been charged with anything, and they're just looking for documentation. However, some people are saying this is retribution.
Well, my sources are telling me that this guy is bad, and it's not just a book. And it's not about classified documents. There was something pretty gnarly that he was into. And so when you see the warrant and when you see the evidence, you're going to understand why this guy's house was raided. Could have been an international situation, could have been treasonous. I don't know. I'm only speculating, but I was warned off of this being just about classified documents for his stupid book. And we know it's not about revenge. They wouldn't go after this guy the way they're doing it if it was just a tit for tat. So I can't tell you what they are looking for, but it looks pretty damning. That's what I'm hearing.
And the deputy FBI director used the word corruption today on X. So there might be more. We're looking at the little Easter eggs and trying to figure out what's going on here. But Jessica, what is your response to this?
More information is obviously needed to fully understand it, but Shannon, who has dutifully been on TV all day and having to come up with something new every hour, which you have managed to do.
Thank you.
Huge respect to you for that. But you were on with former Assistant Director of the FBI, Chris Swecker, this morning, who didn't like how this looked. He said, we just don't want to see the FBI weaponized. Just because you have the authority and discretion to do something like this doesn't mean that you should. And when people say that under the Biden administration that the DOJ was weaponized, let me remind you that there is nobody the Democrats dislike more than Merrick Garland, because he slow-rolled everything. I mean, Jack Smith wasn't appointed for years after January 6th. And people feel that every single case that we had, the strongest of which was Mar-a-Lago, by the way, fell apart because Merrick Garland actually didn't do anything.
You didn't weaponize it soon enough? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that we didn't have a weaponized DOJ, and the proof of that is, and the proof is further that J.D. Vance is sitting down with Kristen Welker from Meet the Press, and listen to how he's talking. This is not an independent DOJ. We're in the very early stages of an ongoing investigation into John Bolton. We, not Pam Bondi and the DOJ, we. If we think Ambassador Bolton committed a crime, of course, eventually prosecutions will come. There's broad concern about Ambassador Bolton. We know that Donald Trump has no respect for co-equal branches of government and independent judiciary. He just wants loyal foot soldiers. That appears to be what he has gotten.
Well, for years in Washington, there have been a lot of questions about John Bolton's associations and the way he has used his position to benefit himself. So it's not just...
Great mustache,
that is also up for debate. Greg, are you worried about the former president of Red Eye?
Well, it's a big problem for me, and I can't really comment on it because him being the president of Red Eye and I being the host of Red Eye, I've actually been told by my lawyers that I'm not allowed to comment on anything except to say, some people say it's retribution. I say, who cares? You know, don't lecture me on timing of lawfare. Don't lecture me on politically motivated, investigations. You guys invented this stuff. You love doing it to Trump because you didn't think it through. You were so confident that Trump was toast, that you could rattle off free punch after free punch after free punch without any fear of reprisal. So yeah, is it retribution? I don't know. But when you think about the constant lawfare, the gerrymandering, the Dems never expect it to happen to them. They're like home invaders who didn't expect a well-armed occupant when they showed up. And Trump is well-armed. This is kind of an ongoing masterclass for the Republican Party, the new Republican Party. To quote Greasy Gav, how to fight fire with fire. The conservative movement, which I loved for the longest time, they were kind of happy to fritter away their influence and power on the notion that they were always above returning fire. Oh, I write for National Review. This is disgusting. Let's write a 4,000-word piece on judicial reform. And then they don't do anything. They go back and smoke their cigar. They always felt it was beneath them to get in the ring and hit back. So it's one of the presents that Trump gave the Republicans that they desperately needed were balls the size of Jupiter.
And if you're a bully and you hit somebody and they don't hit you back, you're going to keep bullying the bejesus out of them. And how many people did they get, Greg? They got Stone, they got Navarro, they got Bannon, they got all the Trump family, Manafort, Carter Page. The list is long, so I believe this is probably going to be the first in many raids.
I didn't want him to be the first, though.
I know, me neither.
You know, he said, you never want Bolton to be your first.
Rough way. All right.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.